It is time for one of the biggest races on the calendar. Welcome to Monza, the Temple of Speed, the beating heart of the Italian motorsport, one of the oldest and most iconic circuits in the Formula One history and calendar. Tonight, SF4 Division 1 arrives at the legendary Autodromo National Monza for round 7 and what already has been a wild season indeed. And this is one track that guarantees drama. It is definitely this one, and we'll see what happens here in qualifying and the race ahead of us. Nestled in the Royal Park just north of Milan, Monza is a racetrack built for the brave, as just over 5.7 kilometers long and made up of long straights, heavy braking zones, or high-speed chicanes. It's a circuit with straight-line speed rules and margins are measured in milliseconds. There's only 11 corners on the track, but each one demands precision, whether it's threading the needle through the Ritifelli chicane, launched out of the Lesmo 2, or holding your nerve through the legendary parabolica named after Michael Alberto. With 3 DRS zones and some of the highest average speed, we'll see some expected overtake galore around here. Late lunges in towards turn 1 and a massive solution effect down towards the straights. But be aware, track limits, breakers consistency and ERS deployment are all crucial indeed. Pole position matches as well, a strong race setup and the ability to find the toe is just as important around here as well. Coming off the back of an action-packed Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, the momentum has shifted again, with Jensen bounced back in brilliant fashion, taking his second win of the season. And what a brilliant race it was. Despite dropping down to 7th place midway through the race after a cost mistake in towards turn 27, the final corner in Saudi Arabia, Jensen managed to claim what is rightfully his and put his championship level recovery drive and put him right back in the title hunt. And Harry Kane, out of nowhere, he delivered an inspiring drive after a difficult start to the season with only one podium back in the last race as well. We've got some cars on the circuit then, so let's see what the drivers will do around here at the Temple of Speed as we watch Rising Star, who makes his way towards the finish line to start up a flying lap around here. But he is lagging. There is a bit of lag there, unfortunately, as we head down towards the braking zone. Hopefully it clears up, and now we're down to the gears. It's not really good. It's like he outbrakes himself or he doesn't. Oh, there's massive lag there for Rising Star, so the lobby is glitched a little bit too. So unfortunately he's struggling with the internet. He is from Saudi Arabia, so not quite sure what the internet like is there for him. Talk about Saudi Arabia, he did race there at his home Grand Prix last week, but unfortunately he crashed out, which caused a safety car and completely changed the trajectory of the race. But he's back, and it has been a disappointing season so far for Rising Star, a driver who is worthy in qualifying but tends to fall backwards during the course of a Grand Prix. So that's something he needs to focus on, which is his racecraft, his race pace. And we say it every single race, don't we, with Rising Star. I don't know, he's not going to fly on laps, so unfortunately his internet is absolutely horrendous, and he is getting away with the red ball. Luckily he's ghosted, so he just gets out of the way of the Red Bull driver there. As Yusuf goes off the track, is there problems? Well, he goes straight to the grass there, where Fernando Alonso broke his suspension at the Escaro chicane, but he heads towards the final corner. What was that line, by the way, from Yusuf Shabek down there? It's his first time racing too, Yusuf Shabek, because he's usually Yusuf Farouk. So here he is then on his debut for SFR. He goes up to 18.7, the former Div 2 driver, up towards the line, and it's an 18.7. Burmeister returns after a break of absences due to his injury, as Burmeister goes up into P2 with a 90.2 in the Williams then, as we see more drivers there across the line to start up flying lap. Both Haas and Ferrari, they're both close friends, Dylan and Blodgett Jr. They're both going for a flying lap around here, as Morinimo goes up into P3 in the Ferrari, but that isn't a competitive lap time for his standards. So Harris goes quickest with an 80.5 in the McLaren, so relatively a decent lap time. I think you want to be aiming for a low 18 around here, and if you do that, then you're on course for a good lap time. And Yarham goes top with an 18.3, 2 tenths clear of Havish in P2. And the Mercedes driver did have a struggle at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix as well. And not just that race, this season too as a whole hasn't been that spectacular for him indeed. So I wonder if this could be a changing point. But a low 18 is a stonking lap time, and I think we'll see somebody hit the 17s as well. Maybe the late 17s, we could see Jensen do that, but I think 18's a good place you want to be, the low 18s. But the high 17s, it could be a possibility, but who can hook it up, and who has got the talent, the skill, and the setup of the car to do that as well. As we see the Ferrari head down towards Parabolica, we saw the Haas was right behind it, but he's dropped a few centimetres away as well, so it tells you how strong the Ferrari's paces, as here he comes towards the line. He goes top. Oh, a 17.9. What did I tell you? That is a mega lap time there from Veloce Jr. Wasn't expecting that, especially at this stage of qualifying where the track is mostly green. It's a Ferrari 1-2 here in Monza, and I'm pretty sure that the Tifosi will be absolutely delighted with that one. Unlike in Monza this year, where we saw Leclerc P4 and Lewis Hamilton in P5. Underwhelming Monza Grand Prix for both Ferrari standards, considering they won last season. But this season, it was Verstappen who took a mighty victory, and Lando Norris in P2 ahead of Oscar Piastri with that controversial McLaren team order. It must be said, a lot of people not understanding why it was implemented there, but that's the way apparently the proprietary rules go racing. Rising Star goes up into P4 in the Racing Bull, but those team orders was controversial indeed, and I think McLaren have got a weird stand. Look at this, he's just absolutely lagging everywhere. Is Rising Star. What can Fireblaze do in the Alpine as he attacks going in towards Ascari now, as we head down towards this short back straight. This short back straight doesn't have DRS, surprisingly, but I thought it would. But considering it is a smooth corner next one, you do double the brakes down there towards the final corner in towards Parabolica, where we saw Leclerc crash. But what can Fireblaze do here? He goes up towards P2 in the Alpine, and he splits both Ferrari drivers indeed. So there's your first set of lap times, and I wonder if anybody else could join them up the order as well. But so far so good for the Ferrari boys, especially Veloce Jr., who has been struggling in the last few races. It looked like a strong, promising start for the Ferrari man, but in the last few races he has dropped away. His best result, of course, was at the Australian Grand Prix when he finished in P2, and I believe that's one of the only podium too this season. He hasn't picked up any more podiums after that as well. He finished P11 at the Jeddah Grand Prix, so he has been struggling in the last few races. Here comes Elite towards the line. The Swedish driver goes up into P6 now. There's questions about him, speculating that whether he should be, well, I'm not quite sure what the message is about him, but he was a former Div 2 driver, and I believe he's too quick to be a Division 2 driver. So hopefully he got promoted with the order, because he does have the pace to do so, and a talent as well. And President Elite once again showing some great pace there in the Aston Martin. He did qualify P6 at the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, fell backwards towards P10, so maybe his race pace isn't quite up to standard just yet. I think his best qualifying result so far this season was back in Bahrain, and I think he scored P4 there as well, but he dropped down the orders in the Grand Prix. In fact, I think he retired from the race, did he? No, I think he was a lap down. So yeah, unfortunately, President Lee had issues there at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Halfway through qualifying already, and it's Veloce Jr. who occupies pole ahead of Fireblaze by under 0.2 of a second. That may be exactly 0.2 as well. Let me have a look. Let me have a quick gander. No, it's not. My maths is way off point there. What's happened to him then? So he has stopped on the track. He's stationary. What's going on for President Elite? Why is he off the track? Is he disqualified himself? Started last? What's going on there? Quite bizarre moment for President Elite. He stopped on the track and he's been disqualified. So has he got a qualifying ban? I'm not quite sure, but that's quite bizarre. He's not a Nico Rosberg going from last to first 2 times. But here comes Jensen towards the line. What can the Alpine driver do? And he goes up into P2. It's so far Alpine versus Ferrari this season. That's been the main narrative of this season so far. I do think, without looking at the Constructors' Championship, both Alpines do have the advantage, and they do as they get the championship up. So both Alpines have the advantage, and they are about 11 points ahead of Ferrari too. So Ferrari are keeping the hot on the heels as Rising Star heads down towards turn 1. He goes hard on the brakes, locks up as well, rising curves through turn 1 and turn 2, trying to get the rotation, but I think a bit too much rear end stability there, instability from the Racing Bull, as he took too much cover on the inside there, so may have unsettled the car just a little bit from Rising Star, as he squirms all over the place, but he's half a tenth down in the first sector already. You know what? Can't quite tell if anything's legitimate or not, but I think going on the gravel there was legitimate, because he did pick up a bit of debris on his tyres then. Burmeister so far is doing a really good job. There he is in the Williams in P7. He's missed a few races due to his injury after he sustained an injury on his leg, I think, but I'm not quite sure how he did it. Was it tennis he was playing? I'm not quite sure, but unfortunately he had to sit out for a few races to recover. But he's back, and we'll see what the Dutchman could do. The 30-year-old Dutchman who is a champion of SFR, promoted up to Division 1 as he became champion of last season in Division 2 as Glock attacks the curbs going towards the second chicane. His teammate Nordus is not here tonight, unfortunately. Nordus showing us a very strong season. Evening, Martin. How are you doing, mate? But Nordus showing us a very strong season so far with 2 podiums on the bouts and a P4 back at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So looking very strong so far, and his teammates not far away too from success either. Glock has also picked up a podium this season. I think they are currently in P3 in the Constructors. So Sauber looking really good so far in the Constructors Championship against the likes. As Moe Nemo goes quicker than his teammates, it's a 70.1912. And he's clear by 700th of a second. However, his teammate's down, and in the background, Dylan Vince goes off the track again. On the last game, you can get away with slipstreaming, but on this game, you can't really because the dirty air is so effective. So corners like these and mid-speed, high-speed corners where you're going to lose a lot of downforce and suffer to the corners. And last season, you can get away with it, but unfortunately, on this game, you can't. Hurricane goes up into P4 with I can't really see what the lap time was, 80.0, I believe it was at the time. It was 80.0. And it's super dense in the midfield there as well. Super tight between every single driver. So 5 margins around this track, the Temple of Speed, which was first introduced back in 1950 along with Belgium, Monaco and Silverstone. And those 4 tracks are still on the calendar, but I believe Belgium won't be because it'll be switched around with the Dutch GP as Rising Star goes up into P4 in the Racing Bull. And hopefully his internet connection sorts itself out too. 6 minutes left to go. It's a Ferrari 1-2, and we'll see if we'll stay that way. If anybody else is going to take away their glory, maybe Jensen can, maybe the likes of Rising Star, Fireblaze can as well. Havish goes up into P9 in the McLaren. I think he's having a decent, quiet season so far. Is Havish getting himself inside the top 10? He goes off the track there as well, where Kimi Adesanya went off the track too, I think in a practice session, and also as well where Kevin Magnussen went off as well all those years ago. As he makes his way now towards the famous Ascari corner, but he's just invalidated on his lap time too. MDJ hasn't got a lap time on the board, neither has Adams, Daddy P14. Dylan Vince is 30 with an 80.8 there, second off the best time of Moe Nemo. Do you know what? Both Ferraris though looking super strong this season, so I wonder it could be a very intense fight between Alpine and Ferrari. Not too much is separated between the two as he smashes the pit lane speed limiter, gets ahead of his teammates. So Harry Kane got caught lacking there, and now he's got to pay the price of staying behind him. Painful for Harry Kane, but his teammate just jumped him in the pit lane, which means Harry Kane's got to stay waiting longer than him. There is 4 minutes and 40 seconds left to go on the clock. Samad in the Alpine is back in the pit lane as we've got one driver currently circulating the circuit. This lobby was a bit late as well, by the way, because unfortunately MDJ wasn't here on time. Not quite sure what he was doing at the time, but hopefully we're not too late and we're up to schedule so far. MDJ, of course, the former season 14 and season 15 drivers runner-up championship. He of course has taken victories around here in SFR, but hasn't won a race for a very long time. Has MDJ still looking to try and adjust on this game? Adaptability is quite difficult in this game as well for MDJ, but hopefully we'll find his feet soon. And the driver who used to be, as he's the only one on the circuit not to set a lap time just yet in the Red Bull. So as he rounds the final corner, let's see what MDJ can spice up and deliver, as the Red Bull has its DRS wide open down the long straight. Speed's about 350 maybe kilometers an hour, but as you can see, he's not using the battery at all, is MDJ. So not really going aggressive on his flying lap, not really utilising the battery pack either, as he squirms out of turn 2, gets on the throttle once again. That's a very interesting tactic, not using the battery on the straight. So, which is quite surprising indeed. He used it out of turn 2 up towards Corba Grande. As we head down towards the second chicane we go, you got to be very smart and strategic about using the battery as well. You can't use it all in one go. But he's now making his way towards the first and second. Lesmo go downshifted to fifth gear, taking too much curve on the entry, and therefore picking up grass on the exit as we head towards the second. Lesmo, unfortunately, he has invalidated there, and he's definitely taken too much curve and gone greedy with it, and has, as a result, paid the price. Yara, I don't think, no, he's not. So he is not on his lap time, and did he complete one? I'm not quite sure. Is he going for a second hour lap? Did he make a mistake towards turn 1 and turn 2, hence why he's backed off so early? So, or maybe he's trying to get in sync with the others. Look at that. Qualifying has ticked down so quickly here as well. It barely feels like we've had qualifying here, but there's 2 minutes left to go in qualifying so far, and the timer is ticking down as the drivers get prepared and ready to go on the circuit once again to complete their final runs in qualifying. The first driver we're going to go on board with is Havish in the McLaren, exiting the first chicane, as now he uses the battery down towards the second chicane he goes, which can be very difficult. He got to be absolutely precise how much curve you take. Look at that, 1.5 tenths up in the first sector as he makes his way towards the second chicane. Look at that, that was very nicely taken too. Not too aggressive as well. Used a bit of curve on the entry. Oh, understeer galore here through sector 1. Carried too much speed and too much steering input, and as a result that lap time is ruined now. So it's all working well so far for him. I don't really see many people these days having issues at the first Lesmo. Maybe the second Lesmo, yes. He has to go very aggressive in towards the second one. But the first Lesmo, I don't really see many people these days having difficulty with it. But of course, drivers got their struggles in different parts of the racetrack, and he's definitely going to go for it again. Save the battery, cool the tyres down, on board with Jensen in the Alpine, the man who is currently leading the championship as we head down towards turn 4, turn 5, the second chicane. Here we go. That's a lot of curve on both entry points, but dips the wheel in towards the grass there as well. And sometimes taking the wrong amount of curve can leak your car. Oh, he has invalidated those Jensen. Back in Saudi Arabia, he was making mistakes on his flying lap, especially in the middle sector there. Jensen's qualifying laps hasn't been quite suffice so far this season, but his race pace has been tremendous. But qualifying has been the main kryptonite for him so far this season, although P3 is still a good place to start. But bearing in mind though, there's a lot of people behind who are super close behind him and therefore could take advantage. So Jensen on his final lap needs to deliver, otherwise the guys behind will jump ahead and have that crucial track position. Indeed, Mo and Nemo is currently on a flying lap in the Ferrari, as we see many more people attempt their final flying laps. It's going to be so interesting. And Yarum, 20 seconds left to go, he will definitely make it, but he's run out of fuel, so I think that's it for Yarum. I think he's done 2 laps at least, or maybe on the second lap time. So those 2 laps he's made a massive mistake, unfortunately. And yeah, that's it for qualifying. He's done. And let's see if anybody's improving on board with the Ferrari. Mo and Nemo clipping the apexes very nicely. Gets a good run out on the second chicane. He may be down in the first sector, but there's time to be gained in the middle and final part of the lap. And let's see as we run down towards the second Lesmo, in towards fifth, back to the throttle once again as well, as soon as he exits the corner. Very nicely done indeed there for Mo and Nemo, as Burmeister retires in the pit lane, as the Ferrari in the middle sector is up or down by 800 a second there. So losing time is Mo and Nemo. Just a bit like 2 for good measure. Jensen's done. Jensen is out of qualifying in P3s in the pit lane, and Velocio Jr. has invalidated. No pole for him, but here comes the Ferrari around the final corner. Let's see, can he improve his margin? He's taken pole previously here in SFR, but can he do it again as he makes his way out of the final corner? Here he comes towards the line. Is this going to be extended? It's not extended, but it's still pole. Just proficient. Fireblaze goes up into P2. He splits both Ferrari drivers indeed. That's a great job from Fireblaze, the man that has played second fiddle to his teammate so far this season. But where's Harry Kane? Harry Kane's up in the middle sector, but unfortunately he has invalidated, and P5 or P6 because Rising Star goes up into P5 in the racing ball. And where is Joram? He is not on a lap time there, unfortunately, in the Mercedes. So qualifying is done and dusted, and there is only 3 drivers inside the 17. So my prediction was right, a high 17 for pole position. That's where you want to be, inside the 17s. And once again, it's a super tight qualifying, but the Tifosi have pole position, and Mo and Nemo is the one that takes pole once again here in SFR, and can he convert it into a win? A disappointing race back in Saudi Arabia due to a miscalculated strategy, it must be said, going on the wrong tyre, well, staying on the wrong tyre during the safety car period. It cost him dearly towards the end of the Grand Prix and fell backwards in the expense of his own teammate as well. for good measure. So hopefully both Ferraris don't bottle the strategy here, because it's a very important race for them. It's Ferrari Alpine. Fireblaze, the Dutchman, gets the better of his English teammate. Rise of Star from Saudi Arabia for P5 ahead of Hurricane. Yarn in P7 ahead of Burmeister, Summit, Havish in P10, Glock in P11 ahead of Yusuf Shabek, Dylan Vince, Adams, and MDJ and President indeed. Just to recite the championship order, Jensen now sits on 160 points, leading the way, whilst Moronimo is in P2, just 6 points behind on 110. Fablaze is third with 100, and Velocev Jr. is still P4 in the hunt with 84 despite his bad progress in the last few races. Nico Rosberg, the reserve driver, with 2 wins as a reserve, and while he didn't race last time out, he's shown he can shake up the order at any moment given. But of course, I think he's on PC, so we won't see him return on PlayStation. Hope maybe not. I meant to say unfortunately. In the Constructors' Championship, Alpine are flying, but Ferrari, the home team tonight, are just a few points behind in the championship. And Ferrari, they need a lot of glamour in this Grand Prix. They need the maximum points they could get as well to try and knock Alpine off the top step. And what a place to do it here in Monza as well. So I think Ferrari are going to try absolutely everything to get that Alpine team off first place. Kickstarter P3 with Racing Bull in 4th place, with Rising Star picking up the most points for Racing Bull in that team. But it's super tight between the guys in the top 3. They're separated by 8 points in the championship. Jensen from Fireblaze from 1st to 3rd, and the Velocev Jr. in 4th place with 99 points on the board too. So it's super tight, and anything could change as well during the course of this Grand Prix. Fireblaze has picked up 2 podiums as well this season, so it's good progress from him. Slowly but surely, some good progress there for the man. He's still searching for his first win since the Mexican Grand Prix in season 16. Had a big chance back in Saudi Arabia, but unfortunately, he just miscalculated really, especially at high speed intensity as well, when you don't have a lot of time to think, but do. Unfortunately, he didn't plan it right. Where Jensen took the victory by both hands, and after a mistake down towards turn 27, it was costly indeed, but made his way back to the field with an epic first place. I think there is 27 laps here of racing in Monza. It is going to be a one-stop strategy. The 2-stop will be quite slow as well, but funnily enough, as well, in Formula 1, the Mini Compound tyres went super long in towards the Grand Prix. Now, I usually expect the Mini Compound tyres to go a shorter distance than that, but graining was barely a thing back in Monza. Easy non-stop if McLaren wanted to. They could turn these Mini Compound tyres towards the end, but of course, if you're new to F1, the reason why they pit, well, they got to pit because it's a rule in the regulation. You got to use 2 of the 3 the compound tires, the soft, medium, or hard. If you use both of them, then you can. Well, you pass the rules, but if you only use one of them, then you get disqualified towards the Grand Prix if you don't pit again. But if it is raining and you do use a set of dry compound tires, you can use that tire towards the end. You don't have to pit for 2 because of the rain, of course. Back in the day, they used to have a hyper soft, ultra soft, super soft, medium, hard, super mediums. That's about 8 different tire compounds, but they shortened it in 2019 to soft, medium, hard, and it's easy to recognise and understand too. where a lot of people were struggling to understand, but it is a lot easier now with 3 tyre compounds. But of course, you still have that category of the softest and the hardest tyre they bring towards the track. I think the C, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the C? The C was the hardest, or the C6 the softest, or C5? I'm not quite sure. I don't really pay attention towards the C1, C2, C3 type thing. I'm not really, I don't really pay much detail into it. What tyres they use over a weekend. What I mean by that is sometimes the hard compound tyre for that race could be the mediums towards the next race in a different circuit. Depends on the track layout as well. And of course, it's not just those compound tyres. You've got the intermediate tyres, which is used for light standing water, and you've got the wet compound tyres that's withstanding a lot of water on the track, which is barely used in F1, unfortunately. Back in the good old days when it used to be on, showing the true driver's strength and capabilities and the testament of their true talents. We've seen some great display in racing. Sebastian Vettel back in 2008 when he won the Monza Grand Prix with Heikki Kovalainen in P2 and Robert Kubica in P3. Sebastian Vettel took a dominant victory back in 2008 with a pole position and a race win for Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso outscored Red Bull, if you guys didn't believe it or not, back in 2008. Shows you how good Sebastian Vettel is as well. Of course, Mark Webber and DC were back in the Red Bull back in 2008. I don't remember DC doing much in that year, other than getting a podium. When was it? Was it the Canadian Grand Prix in 2008? I think it was. I remember him crashed out back in Brazil. But of course, the Scotsman, who had a fearsome battle with Michael Schumacher all them years ago. Now a commentator, I think, in F1 TV. We've seen many good races here in the past as well. Loads of good memories. Ferrari's taking immense victories around here in Monza. There are the lights then to signify the formation lap. And let's see what tyre compounds everybody has elected for. It is the medium compound tyres, as Rising Star has gone for the harder strategy, which is the hard compound tyres. So hopefully his strategy will work, and we'll see if it pays dividends for him later on in the Grand Prix or not. I apologise about the noise in the background. There is nothing I can do about it. It is the rain. But Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton share the record for the most wins at Monza, 5 apiece for both legends of Michael, and the two of them got disqualified already. That's Harry Kane and Yarrow have been disqualified from the formation lap, and that's not going to be good news, especially down towards turn 1, which can be so chaotic as well. In towards the first corner, many drivers make contact through those corners. I remember, I think it was Antonio Liuzzi, was it him? In the HRT, who took out Rosberg and Petrov in 2011, just whitewashed him away, didn't he? And that's the only time HRT was up in the front running field, unfortunately for the Hispania racing team. I remember Rubens Barrichello took his last F1 victory here in Braun at the Monza Grand Prix. He won in Valencia, didn't he? Then he won here in Monza, I believe, as well, with a great victory for Rubens Barrichello. And I think Lewis Hamilton crashed on the first Lesmo, didn't he, on the last lap, and retired from that race too. Of course, Ferrari's last win here in Monza was at the 2024 Monza Grand Prix, and before that 2019 too, with Charles Leclerc won twice around here. But mainly Max Verstappen, Hamilton, Schumacher have had some victorious victories around here. But Ferrari had the most wins around their home race. 19 total victories here in Monza in F1. 10 from McLaren, and Mercedes and Alfa Romeo and Williams and Lotus got 7 F1 wins around here too. It's going to be so interesting down in towards turn 1. And we'll see what happens down there. Will Fireblaze take the lead? Can Moenima defend for Fireblaze as we wait for the lights on the panels? It's a long wait, but we're underway for the Monza Grand Prix here in Italy, and so far the Ferrari goes all the way to the left to come from Fireplace as Velocio Jr. overtakes the RP driver as we head down towards tables, almost to be abreast, but Fireplace has to back out. The two Ferraris go side by side in towards one, and turn two we go. The McLaren jumps over the curb, he's side by side with Jensen. Two drivers off the track there, Samid, who goes off the track, unfortunately as well. But the Ferrari drivers continue the battle. Here comes the RP duo. Fireblades versus Jensen. They go side by side in towards the second Lesbo. They're all over the place. And Fireblades on the grass. He has half spun the car. Unfortunately, he just got squeezed out there. And he rejoins in towards 7th place. Can it get any worse for the RP driver? In the wrong place at the wrong time there for Fireblades. Under massive pressure from Jensen. And trying to get past the Moenimo as well in the other Ferrari. But he's rejoined all the way down to P7 and will be absolutely frustrated. Qualified in P2, but things just go from bad to worse there for Fireblades as we now watch the top three in a battle with Hurricanes in P4. He was trying to overtake Jensen in the early stage of the Grand Prix, but unfortunately just could not make it work. Could Hurricane, and he had to stay behind Jensen too. There was two drivers who was off the track, and that could have been the Williams or Samid. I'm not quite sure who the other one was involved in the gravel at turn 2. But that was ended. It's the two Ferraris who still lead the Grand Prix with Jensen in P3, Hurricanes in 4th, and Joram, Burmeister 6th. As Fireblades is right at the back of his Dutch compatriot of Burmeister as we head down towards turn 1. Here he comes with the straight line speed as we head down towards the breaker zone we go. Level pecking in towards the breaker zone, side by side, wheel to wheel between the two. Let's see who gets a better exit. Massive wheel spin there for Fireblades, but still gets the better exit than Burmeister as he puts himself up into P6 there. Crucial move from the Dutchman. He has used a lot of battery and he's barely got any left. Here comes Glock. Glock might fancy a chance. Up towards second chicane we go as Burmeister tries to hang around the outside. He does. Great defence there from Burmeister. Stuck around the outside and stayed in at 7th place there. Didn't want to lose 2 positions in one go, did the Dutchman or Burmeister. I do like that from Fireblades though. Very aggressive as he needs to be. Tried to make up some lost ground from the start of the Grand Prix, falling from P2 down towards P6 or P7 now, but regained 1 place. And he needs to be aggressive. That's what Fireblades needs to do in this Grand Prix. Keep doing moves like that as he'll try and make his way up the order now. Yorm's the next target, and then it's Hurricane as well. But here we go then. How are Ferrari going to play the side as well? Because they got 1-2. And they could try and control this race ahead of Jensen and Hurricane. So what are these two going to do as well in terms of strategy and positioning as well? Because they're both in a championship fight together. They're both in a constructors fight. As we see Mo and Nemo now set to pass up the Grand Prix. They work greatly in Australia as they swap places as we head down towards turn 1. Here comes Joram on the inside of Hurricane. They go wheel to wheel in towards the breaker, so they go. Here comes the Aston Martin down the inside too. Did he make contact or did he? Yeah, that's contact there for us to lead 2 out of the brakes, unfortunately. But here comes the Ferrari duo there, trying to streak away from the rest of the pack. Velocio Jr. is right behind his teammate Jensen, 7 tenths adrift from the Velocio Jr. as we head down towards the second chicane we go. But Joram did not get past Hurricane. He stayed in 4th place for the time being. So I thought for 1 second the Mercedes driver might have the better of the McLaren driver, but stayed behind him for the time being. As we see Fireblades rise to the back of this battle too. Lost the DRS. And that could have been the contact down towards turn 1. Poor Rising Star, unfortunately having instant connection issues here at Monza. Great qualifying from the RB driver, retired back in Saudi Arabia, but here Monza suffering with bad internet, and that's the last thing you need as well, especially when you're on a game online. But DRS has been enabled. Then the 2 Ferraris change positions as well. Maybe that's what they're going to do throughout the whole race. Try and change position and keep the rest of the guys behind as well. Maybe try and do that tactic, but we'll see if it works. It's working so far, but for how much longer? Because we know Jensen's the aggressor. He can be very aggressive as well in terms of overtaking. He knows when to do it, of course, but Hurricane is right at the back of him as we head down towards turn 1. All these guys just save a battery. They know to follow him on DRS train and break away from the rest of the pack as well as the drivers file through turn 1. So Glock effectively has become the second part of the group, and he becomes the second part of the DRS train, unfortunately, as well. It's on the hard compound tyres though, so you never know if his prolonged tyre life could bring him back in DRS range. He's 9 tenths behind Fireblades, but just needs to find a bit more if he wants to try and secure himself inside of what's the DRS. And effectively, the whole train has been brought back together if he does get himself back in DRS range. He has done a good job, you know, Glock, and he stayed with the DRS range, and Burmeister is the one that's dropping away from it too. So Glock can now breathe a little bit as he has the DRS at the back of Fireblades in P6. And also, if he can keep up with these guys on the medium compound tyres, it could pay dividends for his race later on in the Grand Prix too. So watch out for him. He could be ballistic quick towards the end. Oh, Harry Kane there. A bit deeper towards the Ascari. And now Yarrow finds his chances behind the McLaren driver. Once again, the wheel to wheel, that's a cost mistake there from Harry Kane. But I don't think Yarrow, yeah, he's very smart about it. Don't want to go side by side, especially at this stage of the Grand Prix. When you have the DRS in front of you, it's too early in the Grand Prix to be making moves like that. We saw it last season between Caname. That race last season was absolutely mental with Volakongan. And here comes the two Ferrari boys as they swap places. I don't think these drivers are fighting. Nope, they're slotting behind each other as well. So that's very methodical, very strategic thinking there from the two Ferrari drivers. Not thinking about going for the move at all. Effectively, that's the way you want to control this race. If you're Ferrari, just swap places, trade DRS the whole time, and try and keep the guys at bay. Jensen, though, looks like he's struggling to keep in DRS range of the two Ferraris there. So it's great teamwork, great tactics there for both of them. That's what they need to do throughout the whole race. But of course, the guys behind can respond with undercuts, etc. So watch out for that later in the Grand Prix, as one of the two Ferrari drivers might have to go longer than the other and effectively fall down in the DRS train. Glock has done a mega job, you know, as well, despite the hiccup towards turn 1. President Lee went for aggressive moving towards turn 1, made contact, I think, with Glock as he got us ahead of Burmeister too. So, in a unconventional place to overtake there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look right now, see what he did. Not quite sure how he did it. Maybe Burmeister had a terrible exit, the exit of second Lesmo. My reactions wasn't good enough to try and catch it, but unfortunately, Burmeister is down into P9, and he may be struggling just a bit as well, maybe lacking the race pace. His teammate Summits will have a higher too. And Havish as well is in P11, just outside the top 10 there for McLaren, followed by Adams, MDJ Dillevant, and Yusuf Shabayek as well. So that's the second part of the DRS train, as we see the two Ferraris then trade places once again. This is clever. It's very clever as well, because if you can break Jensen's DRS range, it might be effective towards later in the Grand Prix. It could happen, you know, those two breaking the DRS from third place downwards, and if it does happen, it's a great strategy master plan as well for the two Ferrari drivers, just to trade DRS, swap places. And this is why these guys are tier 1 as well. Just smart thinking on their toes at the, 300 kilometers an hour? Maybe more than that. They race at a high speed, thinking in their heads as well. Thinking what to do in the Grand Prix, how to play strategy as well. Knowing when to make the moves. And that's exactly what Ferrari are doing. But of course, there's 21 laps of this. High pressure intensity to keep going like this at a rate of knots as well. Whilst trying to keep the guys behind at all time. Jensen will have a difficult time of trying to overtake at least one Ferrari. He seems like he's losing straight line speed as Jensen down the straight. He doesn't seem to have that straight line speed. Harry Kane then, all of a sudden finds himself in the back of him by 0.3 of a second as well. So he's brought that gap down as MDJ now is the one that picks up a penalty in the Grand Prix as the drivers head towards the final corner. So it looks like Jensen keeps getting in and out all the time. Closer and backwards, it must be said. As we head on the main straight once again there with the DRS wide open there for Velocio Jr. Also, the guy in second place, the Ferrari driver, can keep himself safe from the guys behind too. So this is great for both Ferraris. They've got track position, which is absolutely key in any race across the calendar, as Havish is in the pit lane too. As the two Red Bull drivers then swap places for P12 and P13. Yusuf Shabayek on his debut for SFR Division 1 this season. His friend of Yusuf Farouk is not here tonight, unfortunately, Mr. Joker. As we head towards the top end of the field then, as Glock is doing a really good job, and this will help him later on the Grand Prix too once the medium compound tyres start to have early signs of degradation. And look at that, Fireblades there as well on the outside of the first Lesmo, just playing with the track limits there as well, playing with fire essentially, and almost running off the track there too. That could be a warning for the RP driver, so got to watch out for those abridgments later on in the Grand Prix. He could bite it back as well later on as he defends from Glock as we head down towards Ascari we go. Look at this camera angle, absolutely lovely too. Brazil Elite in P7 though. Oh, there's a crash in the background. It's Burmeister. He's off the track and he's hit the wall. And is that a safety car? Or is it a VSC? I'm not quite sure, but something's been deployed. And could that be a VSC? I think this might hurt one of the Ferrari drivers. Well, Morinima's in the pit lane already. Is that an early pit stop from the RP driver? I'm not quite sure. So this has now changed the trajectory of the Grand Prix. This VSC has been deployed. Was it a strategy blinder or blunder? Oh, it's a bit too early to pit, don't you think? 19 laps of the hardcore power tyres. Can they stretch it towards the end, Mo and Nemo? It could be too much of a stretch, and therefore the tyres just drop off dramatically. So, a bit of a gamble, as Samad has picked up a driving penalty for speeding under the VSC, and that's Burmeister out of the Grand Prix, unfortunately. So, let's see how the strategy's been played now in this Grand Prix. Was that the right call to pit early, right now, for Mo and Nemo, or was it the wrong call? I'm not quite sure. But the benefit is that he hasn't lost a lot of time, because of course you don't lose a lot of time when you're in the pit lane because of the VSC. 40%, I think the time is increased by 40%. Your race distance, so you don't lose a lot of time. But of course, on the hardcore power tyres right now, he needs to bring the gap down a lot as well, because if he doesn't, and therefore when these guys pit onto a better set of hardcore power tyres, they will catch him up. So Mo and Nemo now at the stage of the Grand Prix has to push, as President Elite has picked up a 3-second attack as well. So it's now changed everything around in this race. As you can see, both Ferraris been split up in this race too. So that gives Jensen all the impetus he needs to get past the Ferrari driver as we head down towards the main straight. Is he going to do it right now? No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being as we head down in towards Turn 1. In the background though, Fireblaze struggling to stay in DRS range there of Hurricane. Of course, there's a few guys who split up inside the top 6 who went into pit as well, as Adams has pitted too to get off the hardcore power tyres he started on. So he's not enjoying his life on the hardcore power tyres. Maybe he's picked up damage. No. Okay, that's a bit strange there for Adams. Did he pick up a driving penalty? I'm not quite sure, but he's just come out of the pit lane and he's on old hardcore power tyres. Let's just check that. Wait, that was a driving penalty, wasn't it? I didn't see that. My bad. Adams, where are you? Yeah, that's a drive-through. Sorry, I didn't see it. So it was a bit strange why he pitted, and that's not a bit. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dive bomb there. Yeah, contact inevitably going to be made there, unfortunately for both of them, but they both escaped free. I think Adams was a bit too lenient going towards that second chicane because that was his corner, but of course he's been a bit precarious with the Red Bull there too behind him as he picks up a 3-second penalty as well for good measure, unfortunately for him. As now Yusuf Shabak has the DRS rise to the back of him as we head down towards Scar. Here we go, and he does put himself up into P11, a lunge around the outside, and Fireblaze has pitted too. Sam is pitted, so is this to get the undercut from the guys ahead? That's 17 laps to hardcore power tyres. It's doable, but a bit of a stretch. And Mo and Nemo now goes up into P6. That's a massive undercut, as you could see there. Massive undercut. But I wonder, what about the delta towards the Grand Prix? What about the tyre difference? And here comes Jensen, looking for a move down the inside, but not to be this time. So two Ferraris, well, one Ferrari, one Alpine are pitted, one Alpine and one Ferrari stayed out. So I wonder if this is the time for the guys on the medium power tyres to pit right now and cover themselves with the undercut threats from their teammates as well. Do you know what's strange as well? Ferrari versus Alpine, and all 4 drivers are in a drivers' championship fight. Jensen there, right to the back of Velocio Jr., almost hitting the back of him too, putting the Ferrari under massive pressure. As Hurricane is trying to get closer in the McLaren too for good measure. Glock is there too. Glock's the hardcore power tyres, don't forget. Is this Jensen going for a move? It is. Well, that's a very bizarre, I say, unconventional place to overtake. But Velocio Jr. should us the DRS the back of him, or maybe going to go in the pit lane. He is. He's in the pit lane. He just had to make the overtake, didn't he, before he went to the pit lane to just show Velocio Jr. who's the winner out of that one. But he stays out for end of the lap time. And Glock has the DRS the back of him too on the hardcore power tyres still. Don't forget that. It's on the hardcore power tyres. So watch out for him later in the Grand Prix. And it can be very crucial now to see where the other guys have rejoined. Hurricanes runs the back of Jensen on the pit lane. There goes the Mercedes. Here comes the Aston Martin. And we're waiting for Fireblaze too. Fireblaze rejoins in front of his teammate. And that undercut has worked. Remember, he was outside the DRS range at one point. Now he's ahead of his teammate. And in the background, that is Dylan ahead of Adams. He goes up into P11 in the Haas. So Velocio Jr. goes round once again then on the midi-car power tyres there, just trying to have a better offset tyres in comparison towards his teammate and other people. And it's very important for Mo and Nemo to get past right now, because the more time we lose. Do you know what? It's not too bad for Mo and Nemo. That VSC call could be an absolute blinder as well. Because if you think about it, the time difference is only 2 laps between, well, 2 or 3 laps between Fireblazers, Jensen and Hurricane. Yes, it's a big difference in terms of like the game itself, but Mo and Nemo there, be very careful not to pick up more warnings. That could be a warning for him, and that could be a warning for him too. So what's the gap between Mo and Nemo and, I dare say, Fireblaze? As Velocio Jr. is in the pit lane to get rid of his mini-car powered tyres, but we'll see what the gap is. I'm trying to figure out the gap between Mo and Nemo and Fireblaze. It's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. 8 seconds is doable, and that could be an absolute blinder for Mo and Nemo to pit under VSC. There's the guys right behind too. Do you think they can catch? Do you think the 2 Alpine and the 4 Joe can catch this man here? I'm not quite sure. They need a massive pace advantage. Look at that, they're headed towards turn 1, while Mo and Nemo is right here. So 15 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. Mo and Nemo could be on course to win it, of course. That decision to go on the hardcore power tyres on the VSC could pay dividends, but what about the tyre drop-off? Is going to be a tyre drop-off for the Ford driver. You know what, the way this race is going, it's going to be exciting indeed. And I think the 2 RP drivers might work together instead of fighting at this stage of the Grand Prix, not to lose too much time. Sorry about that. I just had to respond to a message real quickly. So, yeah. So, by the way, I just received a message that if you go on Twitter, you can be very careful because something's happened on Twitter. So, for those people who've got it, just be very careful what you see there. I think something's gone out there. So, just give it a warning to that one. But here comes Jensen, his own teammate, goes up into P5 ahead of Fireblaze, and I wonder now. Next 2 targets are Elite and Yarn. Those 2 pitted very early in the Grand Prix too, don't forget. They pitted under VSC, same time as Mo and Nemo. So Jensen has got to dispatch Elite and Yarn. Both people having picked up penalties in the Grand Prix too. As we head down towards the chicane we go. I wonder how this race is going to play out as well, because Mo and Nemo's got a big gap behind him as well in terms... Well, look at that. He's way ahead of the road as well. And I think they've got a tall order, these guys as well. Hurricane, Luchip Jr., Jensen and Fireblaze have a tall order to catch Mo and Nemo. Remember, Glock as well as a pitted just in the Grand Prix on the hardcore power tyres, still circulating out there. Go from hard speeder, of course. Much if a safety car comes out for him, that'll be an absolute treat for him. I wonder what he could deliver too. As we see the Mercedes there, ducking left and right. Is that a message? Is that a coded message saying don't overtake me? But behind them, Jensen, Fireblaze and Hurricane are definitely catching as well. And I wonder how quickly can they dispatch those 2. I wonder, will they be stuck in the DRS of those 2 too? I wonder, it could be a factor in the Grand Prix and it could ruin their race. But look at Fireblaze coming back at his teammate Jensen, and President Lee goes up to P3. Do you know what? These 2 are good friends, Fireblaze and Jensen. They work well together, but I wonder as well how the tension's going to be, how the relationship's going to be between those 2 in the championship later in towards the season. Because they're both championship contenders and they're currently leading the Constructors' Championship. Maybe not for long, with both Ferraris there doing a really good job so far. However, Velocio Jr. can't catch up towards Hurricane despite being on better tyres, so it's not worked out for him yet in the Grand Prix, but later on it could do. And I wonder if that tyre delta will help him catch up towards Hurricane, Jensen and Fireblaze. Maybe as well, if these guys get stuck behind Elite and Yoram, that could give the encouragement for Velocio Jr. to catch up and try and stay in the back of this train. Mo and Nemo, though, is not being caught up just yet. He's still got a healthy gap. The gap is 13, well, the laps is 13 left for Mo and Nemo. The gap's gone down a little bit, though, it must be said. And Elite's got Yarm out of DRS range as well, for good measure. So, good job there from President Elite. Although Yarm just keeps himself back in the DRS range. The gap was 5 seconds between Elite and Mo and Nemo. Now it's 4.2, so it definitely tells me that Elite's got some good pace in the hands of the Aston Martin there as well. Good pace from the Aston Martin. It's a shame about his penalty in the Grand Prix. And Jensen gets back in of his teammate too. Puts himself back into P5. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see now how this race unfolds between these guys. The Jensen goes a bit deeper towards 1 and 2. And I think Fireblaze has to overtake his teammate next time around on the main straights, because I think if he doesn't overtake Jensen on the next lap, Jensen will catch up towards Yarman Elite, have the DRS at the back of those two. And that could be very interesting there as well, that battle between Yarman and Elite there. Hurricane has steered the back of the Alpine's rear wing for the whole race as well. He knows what the rear wing looks like on the back of the Alpine. And Jensen's almost in DRS range there too of Yoram and Elite. Almost in DRS range. But he hasn't got it on this lap just yet. Has Jensen as we head down towards Scary. Glock hasn't pitted yet just yet in the Grand Prix. He's still there out there on the hard compound tyres, not pitting. But Jensen's got himself in DRS range of the guys ahead. Which means Fireblaze can't overtake his team anymore with the DRS. And that is another manoeuvre from Elite, moving left and right. What is that signalling? To overtake me or not to? I'm not quite sure. But either way, he's got no choice because the guys behind are right behind him too. Is that a signal for Person Elite to Yoram to work together or trade DRS? And here goes Yoram. Elite didn't put much of a fight there, did he? So I think he wants him to get ahead of him and let him have the DRS on the next lap. I don't see no resemblance between those two of them working together. I'm not quite sure if how well they know each other. As Adams puts up a 10-second penalty for spinning the pit lane. And I wonder, his base goes from bad to worse, doesn't it? Unfortunately for him, it just can't catch a break. The Mercedes man, a former Div 2 driver, a former Div 2 runner-up in the championship too, and a former winner. On his day, he could be absolutely rapid, but this game can be quite difficult too. So the gap's 4.3, you know, and it's staying the same between Yoram and Moanimo. So this is looking good so far for Moanimo in second place. Really good stuff indeed there from the Ferrari driver, keeping good pace. He's catching Glock, and once he catches Glock, he's got to overtake him quickly. No messing around between himself and Glock, unless Glock pits to get off those hardcore power tyres, then fair dues for him. But if Moanimo wants to win this race, then he's got to dispatch on the attack as well. He is catching the guys ahead, and Glock has pitted there. Glock, oh no! He just pitted himself a penalty, a 10-second penalty, and here comes Jensen on the back of these two. The Mercedes does have DRS, and here he comes on one of them as we head down in towards turn one, a side-by-side in towards the breaker zone we go. Can he get ahead? Just ahead. Oh, they're banging wheels there, making contact. Well, more contact between those two as Jean's fighting against Jensen, but Jensen has the battery, whereas Yoram doesn't, and he stays behind as well. Fireblaze has to get a move on. He can't afford to let his teammate go. Jensen's got ahead of one of them. Next target is Person Elite as well. Fireblaze needs to get his elbows out, and needs to be more aggressive and make the move as well, because he knows that his championship rival is right ahead of him, or a car in between, I must say. Well, Jensen might have a chance. Oh, it's going to be so tight towards the Grand Prix, you know, between Moanimo and Jensen as well. The gap's gone down to 3.7, so that's like 6/10 being taken out of Moanimo's advantage. They're definitely gaining. They're definitely catching Moanimo. I thought his tyre strategy would pay dividends, but look at that. They're taking chunks of time away from him as well. And that is why there's a star right behind, but of course he's not here tonight, is he? Well, he's not here because of internet connection issues, but here we go. Oh, Yoram takes a lot of curve on the entry towards Parabolica, but here we go. Will Jensen make the move on Person Elite as we head down towards the main straight? DRS wide open for the LP driver, but not making the move just yet. Fireblaze, he needs to get past Yoram one way or another. Mercedes goes defensive on the inside. Fireblaze forces a move, but Mercedes is not thrown away from it by that. And Fireblaze once again gets stuck behind the Mercedes driver of Yoram, deploying and depleting his battery, incinerated all of his batteries, barely got any left in his disposal to use. As we head down towards the second chicane, you can feel the desperacy for Fireblaze to get past the Mercedes driver, but it's so difficult when the Mercedes has DRS. What's happened to the Haas of Dylan Vince in P12? He's gone for a spin in towards the exit the second corner. And Jensen has overtaken Person Elite. He puts himself up into P2. And now the hunt is on between Jensen and Moanimo. Moanimo is searching for his first win of the season. Jensen is going for his third win of the season. Nima, I thought he had it all. I thought he had the victory, but is that Rising Star back in his car? It is. Rising Star is back in the car. Did Nima get DRS the back of him? I'm not quite sure. He hasn't got the DRS as Rising Star now sets the fastest for the Grand Prix on the hardcore power tyres, new hards. The gap's gone down to 2.9 seconds there, so Jensen's catching the back of Nima. As here comes Harry Kane on the back of Fireblaze, we head down towards turn 1, it's the late send from the McLaren drive, the side by side in towards turn 1 and turn 2. Let's see who gets the better exit. On traction we go. It's Harry Kane who has the advantage. He puts his McLaren up into P5 ahead of Fireblaze. But Fireblaze is coming back at the McLaren driver as we head down towards the second chicane we go. Can Harry Kane stay ahead? Will Fireblaze get back ahead? As Fireblaze has to concede defeat. And McLaren driver puts himself up into P5. Do you know what? That mistake has cost him dearly, hasn't it? On the first lap of the Grand Prix, falling backwards into P6 or P7 it was for Fireblaze. That man just seems to be unlucky all the time. Just can't catch a break, Fireblaze, at all. But the gap's gone down to 1.6, 1.5, so Nima's chance to win the Grand Prix is fading. For 1 second it looked like a good strategy call, but Jensen, his relentless pace, has brought it back a contention of winning this Grand Prix. There is 7 laps left to go after this one, and Jensen hunts him down as we see Yarm in the pit lane on the hardcore powered tyres as well. That's quite bizarre. Maybe he thought his tyres were making towards the end, but here comes Fireblaze back on Harry Kane, puts himself up into P4. They're fighting for the leads for P3. Look how much time they lost. They lost a lot of time as Fireblaze and Harry Kane. They've tripped over themselves. They lost a lot of time towards personal lead, but they do have the tyre advantage, so we expect them to get towards personal leads. That's quite interesting too, that Nima has brought the gap up to 1.9 as well, so looks like he's not done just yet. I thought Jensen would get him down a ray of knots, hunt him down, but Nimo responded to his pace, trying to keep the gap over a second, but there's 7 laps to go. It's so difficult as well. And the thing is, though, Nimo can't catch Rising Star because Rising Star has new hardcore power tyres, so I highly doubt that Nimo will get towards Rising Star. You've got to watch out for the man right behind him, which is Jensen, who's on an absolute charge right now in the Alpine. The man who's been on a mission since the first race of the season, and he has been looking super fine so far this season, except Bahrain, of course, his worst race up to date this year in season 18, but he's done a mighty job after all the problems he had in Saudi Arabia to compel against it and come back stronger and to win the race. As in the background, that is Harry Kane and Fireblaze again. They've been detached, and Glock's up into P7. Don't forget Glock as well. There he is in the kick-saber, but I dare say maybe a bit too far behind. 9 seconds away from these lot as well, fighting for P4 now on the track. Remember, Elite does have a 3-second penalty added to his woes. But yeah, for Fireblaze's sake, I really hope he does win the Grand Prix again. I know he desperately wants to win. He keeps trying every single race since season 16, but it just seems like nothing wants to go his way at all. He's just plagued with bad luck, really, is Fireblaze. I'm not quite sure what happened going down towards the second chicane because we were off board, weren't we? So we didn't quite have a full view or detail to exactly what happened to the LP driver, and can't have a clear indication to see how it went down. But we know he went off the track, he half spun the car going down towards the second chicane, and if it wasn't for that, what could it have been for Fireblaze at P5? So yeah, every single race, don't we? But guess who's caught up in the DRS race now? Nimo. It is Jensen. Nimo, though, he'll be thought to really comfortably in the Grand Prix. Now sees himself Jensen at the back of him. It is lap 22 out of 27. There's 5 laps left to go in this race, and the fight for first place is on between the two protagonists in the Constructors' Championship fight, the Alpine and the Ferrari. The Ferrari is looking for the home win around here in Monza, but Jensen has something else to say about that. Fireblaze up into P4. Do you know what? Flocchio Jr., despite being on younger tyres, can't do anything about it in the hardcore power tyres. He's been a passenger ever since he pitted down towards P6. A former leader of the Grand Prix. It was a Ferrari one too, but it seems like Ferrari's chances to win the Grand Prix are fading away bit by bit. They were working harmony together really well to keep the rest of the guys behind, but Moenimo decided to do something different on the VSC. It looked like the right strategy call from a few laps ago, but now Jensen's at the back of him once again. Jensen's done such a good job to be a brutal force in this race and make his way through, because other people can't capitalise getting through people on newer tyres, while some can. And those people who can make their way through and leave the rest of the guys behind and charge up are the ones that definitely have good bravery, good confidence in the car, and a good setup as well. And generally just good driving in general, because I know a lot of people, they just struggle to sit behind, but Jensen makes his way through where any signs of an opportunity, and this could be an opportunity right now with the DRS open but not use the battery. I think Jensen can be quite wise about this. Maybe he thinks he'd go for on the last lap of the Grand Prix, or lap 26, in towards turn 27 to prevent turn 27. I meant lap 27, it's not Saudi Arabia. But Hurricane's up into P4 ahead of Fireblade. You know what? These two can't catch Elite. Elite's pace has been so good so far. He's on all the tyres, on the hard compound tyres, and still, yeah, those two behind him can't get in DRS range for some unknown reason. Well, there is a reason behind it. Those two keep fighting. That's the reason why behind. That's the reason why they can't catch up towards that lucrative DRS range. Oh, Jensen's super close. He's right to the back of the Ferrari driver. I don't think Jensen needs to wait for the last lap. I think he can do it right now and pull away. And maybe might fancy a move down there in towards... Was that a mistake from the Aston Martin? I'm not quite sure if it was or not. But here comes Jensen for the lead of the Grand Prix. He puts himself up into first place, and there's nothing the Ferrari can do about it at all. And Jensen now pulls away with the battery, and Fireblaze! Fireblaze has a 3-0 in the background. That's a Aston Martin who's got a puncher! Oh my goodness me, President Elite has... I can't quite tell, is it? Is there vibrations on the left rear tyre? He's slowing down. Let's have a clear look at indication to see if it is. It's a slow puncher, and he's pitted. It is a puncher. Oh my days. And he gets a 10-second penalty as well. That's 15 laps of the hardcore power tyres. Moenimo, that is 15 laps, 16 or 15 laps of the hardcore power tyres. So, wow, that's going to be a bit of a worrying sign, especially for Moenimo, who's got 3 laps left on these hardcore power tyres. Wow, this could be another injury to insult there for Moenimo. So what's he going to do now? Try and preserve tyres? And that's what comes around goes around essentially there for Moenimo. Pitting early, but bites you back later in the Grand Prix. And look how much he's slowing down too. He's slowing down quite a lot too. Jensen's pulled away. It's going to be a bit worrying for the Ferrari driver in P2. 16 lap on the hardcore power tyres. I told you it'd be a bit of a stretch, and it certainly is. And I wonder, would he be suffering with the same fate on those hardcore power tyres? Hurricane gets a penalty, and this could be Velocio Jr. on the podium again if he doesn't pick up a penalty in the Grand Prix. Wow. Fireblaze, Hurricane pick up penalties, and maybe it could be a double Ferrari podium depending on the tyre situation for Moenimo. Could we see a double Ferrari podium? And look at this, Velocio Jr. on the better tyres are these guys with the DRS wide open. Here we go down towards the main straight. Hurricane takes Fireblaze, and here comes the Ferrari with the DRS and the battery and the slipstream as we head down towards turn 1. High speed down towards turn 1 and turn 2. A heavy braking zone, scrubbing off all the speed. It's a switchback. No, he can't get the exit. He stays behind for the time being. But he's on the best tyres out of these two, sorry. So I wonder, can he get him down towards the second chicane? How dare will he be in the brakes? In towards the second chicane we go. Oh, it's so tight. Oh, he spins. There's contact between the two. There is contact, similar to Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon's situation as well back this year in F1 in 2025. And he spins him around. Wow. What's your verdict on that? What are you going to say about it? I don't know, really. I think it's down towards the stewards, really, isn't it? It happened so quickly, I'm not quite sure. But I think that Velocio Jr. I think he should have backed out of it, because that was Fireblaze's corner, really, wasn't it, really? It's barely any space to go side by side into towards that second chicane. And this what Hurricane could get a podium, because the gap's 4.7 as well. The gap is 4.7 seconds, so that contact in towards that second chicane has really helped him, as the lead gets a 3-second penalty as well. in this race. Burmeister has left the session Eventide a long time ago. The gap is 2.4. Jensen with another commanding lead in first place. Had to work for it, had to catch up, and he's certainly done that as well. This could be another podium for Hurricane in P3. But I wonder, what is the tyre situation for Mo and Nemo? How bad are those tyres? Surely. As we head down towards the second chicane for the Ferrari driver, it seems good so far. No signs of tyres degrading or flattening. But you can be really careful as well. You can't take too much engine. I think you might as well slow down. Slow down and get a P3 because I think velocity engine is too far back. So on the last lap of the Grand Prix, if he needs to, just back off. You don't need to push. I think Hurricane will get you because, of course, with the tyre difference, he does have a 3-second time penalty. So think about it wisely. Just back off in towards the final lap. Not too much though. Make sure the gap is like under 3 seconds if you can. But you need to be very careful because it's either a podium or nothing. And drop all the way towards the back end of the field. So it's a valiant effort, a good strategy call, but unfortunately hasn't paid dividends. His tyres just gave up towards the Grand Prix. And hopefully, for his sake, I hope he gets a podium because he worked for it. It should have been Ferrari's day, really, with the 1-2 earlier in the Grand Prix. But, of course, both had different strategies as well. It's not working out for one of them. And the other one is about to be overtaken. As he goes up into P2, does Hurricane. And he will stand on the podium once again. I really hope his tyres will survive, Mo and Nemo. Just bring the car home. Don't make any sort of mistake. Don't put too much stress or energy towards the tyres as well. There's no need to put any more steering input or lock into it more than you have to. Just ease it through the corners. Make sure you don't lock up horrendously either. Back off if you have to because you've got the massive gap behind. And just keep it on the road. Oh, be careful. That was that was in danger of there spinning. You can really tell the tyres are dead at this stage of the Grand Prix. So just trying to cling on to dear life. I hope they don't explode. And hopefully he will survive towards the end. It doesn't feel good that I'm on board with him. It feels a bit sketchy, this car. Look, he's slowing down a lot too. It does feel sketchy. I really hope the tyre don't blow up. Back on board with Jensen though. Here he is towards Parabolica. Once again, Jensen displaying some fantastic driving. He won inside Arabia. He's won 3 times already here this season. He might have to make it a 4th. He wins the Monza Grand Prix. Hurricane finishes in P2 and Mo and Nemo survives in P3. Or P2 because that's 3-second penalty for Hurricane. But Jensen wins the Monza Grand Prix after a fantastic drive again for the RP driver. Fantastic racing from him. And once again, he takes the maximum points as well. He's so good as well when it comes to like pressurizing people and puts in the overtakes, etc. As the rest of the field cross the line, we haven't really seen much of these people behind, have we? Barely mention these guys. I feel sorry for them. Usually I mention people, but of course it's a bit difficult when other things elsewhere on the track happen. Looks like his tyres did survive towards the Grand Prix though, so I'm really glad and happy for him. And this will help Jensen in the Drivers' Championship as well. Standing on the top step in front of the Tifosi crowd. Spectacular moment, although the man in second place would have liked to win. But it doesn't always go their way, but it's got plenty of chances this season to try and do something about it. Mo and Nemo has got plenty of pace in store, but of course needs to be more methodical in terms of strategy calls. The strategy looked like it was going its way for the time being, But the tyres just fell off towards the Grand Prix. So I've only had efforts to try and keep it behind, but the tyres just gave the ghost. Yeah, no grip at all. And I think it was best for him to finish in second place rather than get a puncher, risk a puncher fighting with Jensen and Hurricane as well. Second best for Ferrari. He took pole, but unfortunately could convert it to a win. And his teammate Velocio Jr., despite having great pace early on in the Grand Prix, it was a Ferrari 1-2, but they couldn't convert it to the 1-2 they needed. So both Ferrari on strategy there hasn't paid off. But we've always got plenty of races left to go this season to try and do something about it. We've got a handful of races, over 10 races, maybe like 12, 13 races left to go. So there's still plenty of chances and opportunities to grasp. But when will Ferrari finally have their luck turned around? Alpine are leading the way, especially with one driver in the name of Jensen. And hopefully we can get Hurricane inside the podium interviews, as the race did start late. So I was hoping not to do podium interviews tonight. I was hoping to boycott it, just like I tried to boycott this race. Oh, I didn't see you join. Sorry, mate. How are you doing? Good. So, Hurricane, mate, congratulations on the podium once again, and it's your second podium in a row, mate. So it looks like you're finding your form, groove, and rhythm on this game. And talk us through, mate, because you were stuck behind both RP drivers for the whole race, and you finally made your move on Fireblaze as well, and the contact between the Ferrari drivers. So, what was you expecting the course of the Grand Prix? Because I think for a moment the podium was uncertainty, but your great pace and overtaking skills brought you back a contention later on. You did, didn't you? Yeah, he did get stuck behind those two as well, Yoram and President Elite. And do you think as well, scrap over Fireblaze, because Fireblaze was depleting, he was losing a lot of energy on the straights, and therefore you had the advantage. Do you think you two, Fireblaze and yourself, fighting over fourth place at the time, just cost you as well, because Jensen was able to break away, pull away, instead of focus on the President Elite? And also as well, mate, you saw the contact between yourself, Velocio Jr. and Hurricane Fireblaze. So I bet you must have been, we were sad for Fireblaze and both of them, but you must have been inside feeling ecstatic with that, those two making contact, enable you to get a podium. Yeah, looking to Fireblaze there, but another podium added to your tally, mate. And the way this is going so far is looking good, and you're slowly but surely getting there, mate. And it's nice to see you back where you used to be. How do you feel for the Miami Grand Prix, which is next race? Well, mate, thank you very much, Matthias, and welcome to the podium once again, second podium in a row, mate. And hopefully, I get to speak to you when you're up in first place. Well done today. Congratulations. You're welcome. Jensen, mate, it's another win added to your tally. It's your fourth win this season, and you look on good form so far. You're looking so fine. And talk us through then your race because it looked like Mo and Nemo had the advantage on you guys because they pitted quite early under the VSC. But I didn't think during the course of the Grand Prix, I didn't think you guys catch him, but your relentless pace enabled you to catch him. How do you feel? So one person picked up a puncher, and he did 14 laps on the hard compound tyre. So I was actually quite nervous a bit for Mo and Nemo because he just dropped away off the page dramatically when Hurricane overtook it. So he was at risk of a puncher too. But this championship fight is so close between you and RP. Jed, yourself, Mo and Nemo, Fabulous, watching Junior as well. So how are you guys working with each other in the championship with your teammate in upcoming races? Because you see it's working well together now. But towards the last stages, what's going to happen as well? Are you guys free to race? Is there any team orders? Are you planning and preparing things as well as the race goes along? Has it been a good teammate to you so far? He's a good teammate, but unfortunately suffers from bad luck as well. And you must know about this bad luck because it happens majority of the time. Are you going to try and help him as well? Because yeah, I know as a driver myself, it can be a bit demotivated too when in a championship fight. But you're just spooned with bad luck. You play bad luck all the time, and just nothing can seem to go right for him at all. So are you going to try and keep him motivated for the next coming races? Well, how do you feel for the Miami Grand Prix next week, Judson? Well, thank you very much, Jensen, and well done on another spectacular win here in Monza. You've done a great job once again, and good luck for the next race. Yeah, just made it. Quotation marks. But yeah, that's it. That's it then for the Monza Grand Prix. Next week is the Miami Grand Prix at 7:30 on Wednesday. So join us back for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 7:30 for every single race across the three divisions. And we'll see you all later. Goodbye for now. And that is it for Monza.